My name is Wesley Ralph Greene, and I'll be interviewing Miss Rebecca Barnwell today. And it is Monday, October 23rd, and it is 2:35 p.m. on the campus of the University of South Carolina-Aiken at the Ruth Patrick Science Education Center studio. And my interview assistant is Karen Moulton. And Rebecca, thank you for coming to talk to me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
So to start, I just wanted to maybe get some background about your early life and things like that. So when and where were you born?
I was born in Springfield, Missouri, and I was born many, many years ago. I'm feeling my age more and more every day. I was born in 1982, June 30th.
Okay. And did you grow up in Springfield, Missouri? Or?
I didn't. I was born there. I lived there for a short time when I was really young, but then my father, who was also in the military, when he decided what he wanted to do, he went to school, got a college degree, and we kind of bounced around a little bit, but I grew up mostly in West Plains, Missouri.
Okay, and can you describe West Plains to us?
Small town USA. So not much there. There still isn't much there. When I go back home, it's very small. We've got, I think probably the biggest store there is Walmart, and I think they have a Lowe's or something like that, but still very small. Definitely, there's still much of an agricultural community that surrounds the town, so a lot of people kind of commute into the area to work.
Okay, and were there any activities that you participated in while you were growing up, or?
I tried to stay active in things. I enjoyed the theater a lot, so I participated in that. Towards the end, I really wanted to get karate lessons, so I started babysitting so I could save some of my money, and my mom and I made a deal. She would pay for my uniform and for my tests if I could pay the regular fees for the weekly bit. So I did that for a little bit, and that was really exciting. There wasn't too much to do though in West Plains, so as far as extracurricular activities, there just wasn't a lot of options.
Okay, and you said your dad was in the military? He
was in the Navy.
Okay.
back in the 70s before I was born.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit more about some of the rest of your family when you were growing up? Or?
Sure. So my mom never graduated from high school. She got married really, really young. And, they're still together, so I guess it wasn't a bad decision. But it did have an effect on how she felt about herself. I think that she always made education something, she wanted it for me, because I think in her lifetime she didn't get to fulfill what she wanted to do. So through me, pushing me to do more, I think that she really, really wanted me to get further in my education, and that's kind of what led me to join the military in some ways, because I had scholarships. I knew I could go to 2 years for free just based on my grades, but I wanted to go to a 4-year university, so I started looking around at what my options were, and the Army kept on coming up, and I thought, what a cool opportunity to get some real life experience, travel a little bit, maybe get to see parts of the world, and have my education paid for me. And so that was a big factor in me joining the military, was furthering my education. So my dad did go to college later on, and I saw how hard it was for him to repay those debts for school loans, and that was a big reason why I was looking for another way to finance my education.
Okay. And where'd you go to high school at?
West Plains Senior High. So not much imagination to the name, right? It's not named after anybody, but it was a good school.
And how would you describe your high school self?
Pretty much the same that I am now. I'm a very genuine, open person. I may have been more I didn't have a lot of self-esteem back then, but I think who does in high school? I don't think anybody truly, is confident in themselves or in their abilities. So I may have been a little bit more withdrawn, but definitely the shadow of myself was still there, that I am now. And I think I was always kind of geeky. I was kind of like the, art student who was sitting out to go paint while we're supposed to be having lunch or something. I loved my AP English class. I could talk about literature all day long, and I loved it. So, geek, I would say. But happy geek.
Yes, sir. And you said that you did have some opportunities to go to 2-year schools, but you decided to go into the military.
I did. I was pretty much guaranteed a 2-year scholarship at the local university branch that was from, I think at the time it was like Southwest State, Missouri. But it was 2 years. And it wasn't, my top choice. I was actually looking at an art school in St. Louis. I really thought that would be the way I'd go, if not Columbia, which is another large school in Missouri. But the military seemed to be an exciting change.
So when did you enlist in the military?
Oh my gosh. I actually enlisted before I graduated. So I was actually underage. I had to have my parents sign for me, which is awkward. So I was 17. And it was a program, like a delayed entry program. So I was working out and getting ready, but I didn't actually leave until after my 18th birthday in August. So like August 2000 is when I actually started, I'd say, my military career.
Okay. And where did you go for basic training when you joined?
I actually came here to Fort Jackson. So, which is funny because Fort Leonard Wood is so much closer in Missouri, but Fort Jackson was where they sent me. I guess maybe so I couldn't run away as easily.
So you lived mostly in the Midwest before then? Or?
Yes.
So was it tough coming to the South and having to deal with the weather conditions and stuff like that?
The fire ants. I was like, what are these things? And I swear they strategically sat us down on anthills everywhere we went. So I think that was hard. And we still have like the sticky heat that they do here, that like really humid heat. So that wasn't too much of a change. But the sand, like, oh my gosh, everywhere you go is like a beach, but without the good stuff, like water and fun. So it was an adjustment, but not a bad one.
Okay. And what were some of your memorable experiences from basic training?
From basic training? Mm-hmm. Definitely the gas chamber. I had no idea how much mucus was actually inside my body until it all came out at once, and it was horrid. So I don't know if you know much about like basic training. They have you kind of march in to a room where they have these like kind of like a curtain, like the plastic ones. Like, have you ever gone to a grocery store and you see like the hanging sheets of plastic? They had that over the doors, and it had 2 entrances, one in the front and one at the end. And then there's a guy sitting there at the table with like, it looked like a coffee can to me, basically, but it was full of this concentrated gas that they put in there. And it's to help you build confidence in your equipment, because you have to put on the gas mask, clear it, and then they make you take it off so you know what it's like, and then you put it back on, and I can breathe again. It did not work out that way for me. The moment I took off, and I was really confident going in because I was like, it's all a mind game. I'm going to be good. I just have to take this off, say my social security number, say my name. I'll be fine. The moment I took my mask off, my body just went, and I was like totally in shock. I could breathe in, but I couldn't breathe out. Like, it was because the mucus had built up so fast, I couldn't get it out. And so the drill sergeant comes up to me, standing in front of me, and is like, social security number, and I'm like, and all of a sudden there were like little pinpricks of black that I could see. I'm like, I'm gonna pass out right in front of the drill sergeant. He grabbed me by my shoulders, hit me against the wall, and like, I kid you not, a whole nother person came out my nose and mouth, and it was disgusting, probably the grossest thing, but I got that mask on and, finished the task, but it was probably the worst part. And so, in that way, the most rememberable, I thought I might, pass out and die in the gas chamber. But there's also some cool stuff too, like we do exercises where they take you out at night and they're shooting, you can see the tracer rounds and you have to like low crawl, and it feels very realistic, and they're playing these loud sounds of explosions and stuff. That's fun. Digging foxholes. I didn't mind digging. And the long walks. I do remember one time we'd always have, there's a lot of downtime in the military, and they don't really tell you that. You think it's always like constant go, but no, they just keep you awake a lot and make you just stand in line or sit down and polish boots or something. So we were supposed to be polishing boots, but I was a little tired. And so I had fallen asleep, basically like sitting down, and I woke up and there were the shiny pair of boots sitting in front of me. So I knew right away, this is a drill sergeant. So like I kind of looked up, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Amen, drill sergeant," just saying a prayer. And it was pretty intense. But I'd have to say that none of the memories that I have were so terrible that I don't feel like I grew from them. I think I grew from everything.
Okay. And do you remember any of your fellow recruits or any of your commanding officers, drill sergeants?
Yes. Gosh, now remembering names is probably not the best. I do remember I made really good friends with a guy who I think went into like communications, like radio stuff, and his name was Daniel Kemp. And like we just really hit it off. We were in the same squad, and we were able to like just talk. And that like during our downtime, we just chilled. And I remember thinking that, like how incredible his life was, because both of his parents were deaf. And so like this being out in the military and everything, I think he felt like his parents were missing out because he couldn't call them like we could call our parents. And I remember thinking, man, that's crazy. So that was good. We had a lot of guys like that were actually in the Army band, so they were there. That was their job, was to play an instrument.